Hey guys, it's Matt here. I want to do a after regional report on the deck, things that I would change, things that I would definitely keep the same. And I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little bit raggly. My voice is kind of hoarse from the regional. I did pretty well. I went X2 drop at round, I think 7. Both my losses were because of a misplay, which I think was probably because I was pretty tired. I'm pretty good about finding the correct plays. And anyway, I made 2 misplays that made me go X2, and I already had my invite, and I went ahead and dropped and started playing some side events at that point. But I probably could have won X2 the rest of the day, honestly. Anyway, I want to go back over the deck list again, my thoughts on it, the way that it really worked out at the regional against certain matchups, and my thoughts about how I'm going to play it at YCS Austin, since the meta is not going to really change between now and then. So this is going to pretty much be another deck profile, and I'm just going to be elaborating a little bit more on some key points about certain matchups and so on. As before, the High Priestess build is still the best. You definitely want to run the light version of this, of Prophecy, to abuse High Priestess as much as possible. You also want to run 3 Spellbook Magician. I mean, these are just staple things that you have to run regardless of what build variation you go for. Temperance is still the best tutor as far as I'm concerned. He was doing a lot of work yesterday, and he's just a really amazing card. He's a lone fire for your boss monster. It's pretty insane. I would definitely keep Breaker at 3. Breaker does really well against Fire Fist to get rid of either their Tinky, Tensu, their fire formations, so that they can't pitch them without having another one to already have. Or if they have back row, you can get rid of their actual threats, let them keep their small pumps, and then swing over their field when they have nothing to defend them on. Also against Mermails, Breaker's good. It forces them to activate Squall or Sphere right at that moment, and that can make them not have as much of an optimal play, or maybe no play at all, as opposed to letting them keep their Squall or Sphere and playing it when they want to. 2 effect powers in the main deck worked really well. It's really good against Fire Fist, and it's okay against Mermail. I mean, whenever they summon Abyssius or Spike, you can at least prevent them from getting another card from their hand. Again, 2 Tragodia, it's just really good. Your hand is usually really big, and the level modulation really opens up some plays. And I would still definitely run Injection Fairy Lily. She did a lot of work yesterday, or Saturday, against Fire Fist when they couldn't forbid Lancer to make her not be strong enough to swing over like a bear or something like that. I actually didn't play any Samurais. This is really good against Samurais, but I didn't play any Samurai players because I went undefeated, I think, for the first 4 or 5 rounds. I forget how many now. And I'm pretty sure the Samurai players just scrubbed out before they ever got to where they could play me. Again, I would play the 3 staple spells, Monsterborn, Darkhold, Heavy Storm. Definitely still play Book of Moon. Book of Moon was amazing. I actually had one game where, like, when you draw Book of Moon and Fate together, like, let's say you went Secrets for Magician, for Master, for Fate, and you already have Book of Moon, you can set your Book of Moon can be what flips your Fate down, your Magician down, and your Fate can be what disrupts their play. You can Book of Moon their bear before they try to swing with it. Try to use the effect, or try to attack with it, or against, like, if someone's trying to exceed or sync or something, you can block their plays. I even had one game where I went Secrets for Magician, for Master, for Fate, and I double set Fate and Book of Moon. So they were set, and they played Heavy Storm on me, and so I chained Fate for 2 on Magician, chained Book of Moon on Magician. Magician flipped down, Fate flipped it back up, and I got to go search for a Spellbook, and then they continued their turn. But I ended up, that's just a really good combo with those 2. If they Heavy Storm, they don't really Heavy Storm you that for a +1, because you're going to get to use both of these on your Magician to make it do a quick flip that they can't really stop. So anyway, I would definitely run Book of Moon. Book of Moon is just a very versatile card, especially in this deck. And of course run 3 secrets and 2 master. I still don't know if I would pump master up to 3. 2 was working just perfectly fine yesterday. But you can definitely test 3 in your builds if y'all want to. Also, as before, 2 Fate and 2 Eternity is just the best ratios in order to loop your Fates and to be able to consistently draw Eternity without drawing it too much. If you draw it before you draw Fate or Priestess, Eternity kind of sucks. But 2 is necessary in order to have the loop. 2 Power, 2 Wisdom worked fine yesterday. I never really had a moment where I wish I had a 3rd one, or when I couldn't go grab it when I really needed to grab it. It just worked really well for me, and I would keep the ratios of that. And I would never break the ratio of 1 and 1 for Tower and Life, just because it is not necessary to run more than 1 of each. On the traps, 2 Breakthrough skill. I only had 1 instance the entire day where this mattered, as opposed to Fiendish Chain, and that was against a Dino Rabbit player where they had Dolka on the field. But other than that, I never ran into a moment where I actually needed Breakthrough skill in the graveyard to use the effect, because I was playing almost nothing but Mermails yesterday, and it was just not needed, and I didn't play Samurai, so that never came up. But I would still run Breakthrough skill over Forbidden Fiendish Chain, just because it does give you that extra out against, like Samurais and Dino Rabbit players. 2 Threatening Roar was one of the MVPs yesterday. That threw Mermail players off ridiculously bad. It just stops them from being able to OTK you or push over you, and saving your stuff for another turn, whether it be a Priestess or a Magician or whatever you have, is just, it's game breaking in many scenarios. And I would definitely run 2, maybe run 3, but I tested 3 a while back, and I was drawing it in 2s too often. And then of course the two Solemns. The main deck actually hasn't changed any yet, and I can't think of any changes that I want to make. I might test play some stuff like running 3 Threatening Roars again, or test playing a 3rd Master, test playing a 3rd Temperance, even though when I do that I tend to draw too many of them at once. But I mean, the main deck is pretty set. I'm very confident that this build, with a good player who understands the build and is really in tune with the plays, can top at the Austin YCS. And I'm hoping that's gonna be me, but just as a comment, it doesn't have to be me. I think this build is very good. On the extra deck, 3 Maxi, 2 Kaiku, 2 Jowgen, 2 Tsukiyomi. I would say Tsukiyomi can maybe be cut. She's really good against Dino Rabbit and Samurai, and I only played 1 Dino Rabbit and I didn't play any Samurai, so she didn't really go in at all yesterday, just in 1 match. But she's really good against those matchups, or she's okay against those matchups, but if I was going to find room for something else, that would be my first one to cut. And then the 3 D-Fissures and 3 MSCs. I think you can see those. Put those up here. 3 MSCs. This side deck is amazing against Mermails. I played against 4 Mermails, and I lost to only 1 of them because I misplayed. And I would have won that one if I hadn't misplayed. But against Mermails, siding in 3 D-Fissure cuts off their plays when you have it active. Jowgen cuts off their plays when he's on the field. Kaiku makes their Squalls dead. And then Max C's go off whenever they try to kill D-Fissure, and you get to draw cards, and you end up with a humongous hand, probably with a Trag, so they're not going to kill you, and then you can push back on them whenever it is your turn again. Maxi also has great synergy with Threatening. If you have Threatening down, even if you don't draw a Trag, you're going to have like 10 cards in your hand if they try to push through your Maxi, and then you can Threatening Roar their attack away. It's just really good. The only thing I'm considering is maybe cutting the Tsukiyomis to find 2 more cards that I can side in against Fire Fist. Fire Fist is actually one of the harder matchups because I can just side in 3 MFTs. I have 2 Effect Hours and 2 Breakthrough skills made, but I don't really know if I want to side more for them or just keep the Tsukis in for that 6 Samurai matchup, or what exactly I want to do about that. But I played against one Fire Fist player, and I beat him. I 2-0'd him. I drew really well game 1, and I drew okay game 2, and he didn't draw very well. And I ended up just being able to out-resource him pretty quickly. On the extra deck, it didn't change, but just to make the video more complete so that people don't have to go watch the first one if they haven't seen it already. Synchros, we have 1 Catastor, 1 Librarian, 1 Arcanite, 1 Ancient Sacred Wyvern, 1 Crimson Blader, 1 Scrap Dragon, and 1 Blackwing Dragon. I don't really think the extra deck needs to change at all. I think it already has everything that it needs to have, but those are the Synchros. And then Exceed-wise, I have a Shining Elf, Gotchi, Sin Mains, Acid Golem, Symphony to Jin, Hierophant of Prophecy, Big Eye, and Gustav Max. Gustav Max actually came up the other day. My round one match was against a Exodia self-destruct button that sided into Dark World. It was really annoying. And anyway, he had all these things that could stop you from attacking, and so I just ended up dropping that and then burning him for 4,000 2 turns in a row and winning the game that I won. But it comes up in other matches as well. But yeah, that's the deck. There's no immediate changes that I would make. I mean, I would take this to another regional or YCS right now as it is. Again, the Tsukiyomis are maybe going to change. I'm not sure about her. I just didn't really find Samurais or Dino Rabbit. And I honestly, if you do good, I think once you go 3-0, I don't really expect to see Samurai, because Samurais tend to kind of scrub out because their field can be broken down so easily by Fire Fist and Mermails that I don't really expect to see more than one, if one, at an event. But anyway, that's the Aftermath deck profile of the deck. My thoughts on it, things that I might change or not change. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks.